Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if you're new. Welcome to Forecast One, which is a rebrand of what my channel used to be, as I've partnered up with a couple different people to bring you better coverage, better knowledge, and stuff like that. But the videos will stay the same, so don't you worry about that. But for today, so we can get right into it, because we got a lot to talk about. We're going to look at the SPC Storm Prediction Center's convective outlooks. So, for some of you who are new, if you go on the channel, these are regular videos that I used to do. Tried to do daily, but as things have just gone over time, things happen. So, they haven't happened every day. But we're back. I don't remember the last time I did a video like this, but we're back. So that's the main thing. So going to today. We have two marginal risk areas, one in Indiana and Ohio, and the other one spanning from central South Dakota all the way to west Texas and the northern panhandle of Texas. And this includes the panhandle of Oklahoma, western Kansas, and west central Nebraska. And then everywhere else is just isolated thunderstorms in the very light green. So the tornado threat is less than 2% in all areas. There is a wind threat in Indiana and Ohio, and then the wind threat for the other marginal risk spans from south central North Dakota through central South Dakota and west central Nebraska, western Kansas, and extreme eastern Colorado. And the hail threat, not much difference between the actual risk categories itself. Indiana and Ohio have a 5% risk of seeing hail of 1 inch in diameter or larger. And then south central North Dakota, central South Dakota, west central Nebraska, extreme eastern Colorado, western Kansas, the panhandle of Oklahoma, and the north panhandle of Texas have a 5% chance of seeing hail of 1 inch within 25 miles. Now we jump to tomorrow's. Tomorrow's when the threat starts to ramp up for the rest of the week, into the weekend, into early next week, where we do have a large marginal risk set up from the Canada border all the way down to north central Texas, basically, and everywhere in between. The Michigan Peninsula, Wisconsin, eastern and southeastern South Dakota, Illinois, Iowa, Nebraska, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, and then northwestern Arkansas. And then we have a slight risk that includes southern Minnesota, extreme western Wisconsin, Iowa, Nebraska, Missouri, and Kansas. Now, with that, we have a 2% chance of seeing a tornado within 25 miles of Point in the Green. So in Oklahoma, extreme northwestern Arkansas, Missouri, Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, South Dakota. We also have a 2% SIG 1, or 2% conditional intensity group 1, meaning not only do we have a 2% of a tornado, there's a 2% chance that tornado could be EF2 strength or stronger. And then we have a 5% SIG 1, again, a 5% conditional intensity group 1, meaning not only do we have that 5% chance of a tornado in Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, Iowa, there's a 5% chance that tornado could be EF2 strength or stronger. Wind, large wind threat on the table potentially, with a 5% chance of seeing wind gusts of 50 knots or stronger within 25 miles of Point in the Brown. So basically, our entire marginal risk area is under the threat for strong winds. Okay? And then we have a higher 15% chance of seeing wind gusts of 50 knots or higher within 25 miles of Point in the yellow. So Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Nebraska, and eastern Nebraska, you guys are under the gun for strong winds. Hail. We have a 5% chance of seeing hail of 1 inch in diameter within 25 miles of Point in the Brown. Along with that, we have a 5% SIG 1, again, conditional intensity group 1, of seeing hail of 2 inches in diameter or larger within the brown dashed area. Then we have a 15% chance of seeing hail of 1 inch diameter or larger in the yellow. So Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas, and Missouri. Now we do have that SIG one, which means a 15% chance of seeing hail of 2 inches in diameter or larger. That would be the Nebraska, southwestern Iowa, northwestern Missouri, and Kansas. Jumping to the day 3 outlook, we have a marginal risk set over the southern plains and Dixie Alley in Ohio River Valley, meaning Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, and Missouri. We do have a slight risk, including Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, all of Arkansas, Missouri, Tennessee, Mississippi. With a probabilistic of, in the brown, we have a 5% chance of seeing severe weather within 25 miles of a point. And in the yellow, we have a 15% chance of seeing severe weather within 25 miles of a point. So, I hate to say it, but if you live in Arkansas, you're probably going to see severe weather since the entire state is under that slight risk. Now, that's all we have for that. Now, if we go to the extended, the day four to day 8 outlook, we go to the day 4. We have a 15%, so we have a slight risk, and this is for Saturday. For Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, and then we have a 30% or an enhanced risk of severe weather for Kansas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. Now, later on, we'll take a look at a little more specifics on this day. But right now, this is all we know is that we have we have a slight risk here, enhanced risk here. Day 5, we have a 15%, so we have slight risk in southeastern Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, Texas, and Oklahoma. And then we have a 30% or enhanced risk in Oklahoma and Kansas. And this does include cities of Oklahoma City, Norman, and Tulsa, and Wichita, and Kansas. Day 5. Day 6, we have a slight risk, so a 15% chance of severe weather in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, and Missouri. Like I said, we'll look at we'll look at like specifics and timing here shortly. Day 7, day 8, no, predictability is too low for that. So that is the outlook portion of the video. So now we're going to go jump over to another website and look at some different weather models. Alrighty. So now we are on Pivotal Weather that shows different models from the GFS to the HMR to the NAM. It shows so many different models. It's a great website. I love it. So right now we're just gonna do an overview of the entire United States, and the rundown here for Thursday as we get closer to it. So by 4 o'clock Thursday, four in the afternoon Thursday, the GFS shows storms forming in eastern Nebraska. Now it isn't until within the next 3 hours at 7 that they really intensify on the Kansas-Nebraska border. Try to get a sounding here, see what the soundings look like. Whoop. So the soundings, they don't look too impressive. The hodograph is all over the place. I mean, I don't even know what the hodograph's trying to do. So, there isn't a whole lot of what we call storm fuel for this system as it moves off to the south and east. Yes, Kansas City, this does include you. You will get hit with storms Thursday night, Friday morning. Now, as this storm drops south, it's going to leave a boundary in Oklahoma. And storms are going to form off that boundary in Oklahoma which the GFS model does not do a great job of showing. So there could be a thing where it doesn't leave that boundary and storms can't fire for Friday. Now, we're also not expecting a widespread severe weather outbreak Friday. So, hence why the GFS isn't picking up on anything too significant. Now, if we jump to Saturday, okay, this is where we have that enhanced risk and slight risk already. So we jump to Saturday at 4 p.m., we can see storms starting to form in Oklahoma. And we jump to 7 p.m., we've got these clusters, these very discrete cells. We got one up here, one down here. Next one. So it looks like Saturday could be a day where we could see a heightened tornado potential because we have these discrete cells. It's not this big line or big blob of storms. Okay. Photograph does show lift from 0 to 1. We do have a possible hazard type of marginal tornado. There is ample energy, 2,227 joules per kilogram of CAPE. So there's stuff out there to help these storms. Okay. I do think Saturday is just a precursor of what we could see on Sunday. I think Sunday is going to be more significant. So let's jump ahead to Sunday here. Oh, we can't. It doesn't go that far. It gets to Sunday at 1 p.m. So we can't really see all of Sunday yet, which stinks, but it's okay. We'll make it work. We can get by. So now we're going to go to our severe weather models here, and we're going to show you the CAPE, or convective available potential energy. This is what storms feed off of. You have high values, you have a higher chance of seeing significant severe weather. So we'll jump ahead to Thursday at 4 when storms are starting to fire. So storms are starting to fire in Nebraska at this time in areas with about 1,775 joules per kilogram. But look at this down here. Storms aren't firing down here, but look. Almost 4,000 joules per kilogram. 3,368 joules per kilogram. I think we even had higher value. Oh, yeah, 3,757 joules per kilogram. So almost 4,000 CAPE. Now, at 7, we have that line of storms, and obviously, as they push south and east, they're going to erode that CAPE away. They're going to use that energy. They're going to erode it away. But now, if we get to Friday, look at this. Friday at 4 o'clock. Look at the CAPE in Texas. When we get to 7 o'clock, that's a lot of energy for storms to feed off of. Anywhere from 3,000 to 3,500 joules per kilogram of CAPE. That's not very little. That's a good amount. There's a reason 30,000 is red on the color table here, because it signifies a lot of CAPE in the air, a lot of energy for storms to feed off of. That was for Friday. Now, if we jump to Saturday, look at all this energy they have to feed off of in Oklahoma. 3,500 at 4, and even down in Texas, it's 3,200. So, one more, there's even more down in Texas, pushing 4,000, pushing 4,000 joules per kilogram of CAPE in Texas. Now, obviously, once the storms form, they're gonna eat it, they're gonna erode it away. Now, when we get the daytime heating for Sunday, is when we could see insane value. Look, yep, there we go. 4,342 joules per kilogram of CAPE, or convective available potential energy. If you live down here in Oklahoma, it's going to feel heavy, hot, humid. It's going to feel like one of those days where severe weather is going to happen. When you have all this energy, you can feel the instability in the air. Do one more. So it's lightened up now, okay? But this is what storms are going to feed off of. And look at this. All this out here. I bet you we see storms form out here in western Oklahoma moving east-southeast. I bet. Or they form just out here, out in the high values of Cape, which the GFS, that's what the GFS is saying, because we get to the next one. Look at this hole down to 197, 58 in that hole. But if we do one scan back, 4,000. So storms probably fire off in that area and just eat that energy away until there ain't much left. But the energy does stay. We get to Monday at 4 a.m., we still have 3,366 joules per kilogram. So we still have a lot of Cape. Now, the next model we're going to look at is SIN, or cap inhibition. Basically, this is what could prohibit storm development. If the cap doesn't break, storms aren't likely to fire. Now, if the cap breaks, or if one storm can erode it away, then you have a higher likelihood of storms forming. So we're going to look at this, because this is going to play a big factor into how Thursday goes. So we go ahead. Higher values a higher negative number indicates a stronger cap. Now, if we have a cap that's anywhere from like -50 to -100, that would be considered breakable. Now, we have seen caps of values of like -300 break, but it takes a pretty intense storm to do so. So we get to Wednesday, Thursday now. Now, if you see, like I said, storms are firing off in eastern Nebraska. If you look at eastern Nebraska at 1, right where we think the storms are going to form, there isn't anything there. There's nothing prohibiting storm development. 4, that cap's almost gone. 7, it's building again down here, but we're not forecasting to see anything down here, right? I mean, we saw the outlook, okay? Now, obviously, overnight, the cap's going to build. It's going to get stronger. Now, if we go to Friday, that cap is gone, but look at this, y'all. Remember how I said that cap's just going to rebuild overnight in the morning, okay? Remember how we said it's going to be a boundary day in Oklahoma. Look at this. Cap right over central Oklahoma. This, and if it's not breaking and it's strengthening, this could mean that we don't see anything in Oklahoma. This could mean that the cap is too strong for any storms to fire off that boundary. Now, like I said, -126, that could break. It only takes one storm to eat it away and break it, and then everything, and all hell breaks loose. But judging by what the GFS is saying, and that it's staying there until the overnight hours, okay, we get to 10, it's gone, but the daytime heating is gone. But it's just something to look at. So the threat for severe weather in Oklahoma on Friday could be a little bit lower than what we originally thought. Now let's get to Saturday. Saturday at 10 a.m., we already can see the cap starting to break here, like in between Oklahoma City and Tulsa. You get the next one at 1, that cap is pretty much gone, and then by 4, there is no cap. So by 4, I do expect Saturday to see our peak severe weather formation, just because there's nothing prohibiting storms to form. Now, that was Saturday. Now, like I said, Sunday, I think, could be a more significant day. Sunday at 7 a.m., we have a very strong cap. -5, almost -600. Look at this, by 10 a.m. By 1 p.m., that cap is starting to eat away in areas like Tulsa. Oklahoma City's still got a decent cap. But we get to 4, maybe. Pivotal weather wants to work. Okay. We get to 1 here. If we get to 4, that cap is gone. So within that 3 hours, the GFS shows that the cap is gone, and basically storms can go nuts now. And then the next scan at 7, it starts to rebuild. At this point, I think our storms will be out here. I guess I don't know storm movement. We don't know all that yet. But, it's just this. It's a very interesting model to look at when you see these that these outlooks issued, and then we look at this and we see, like, for Friday, the cap stays over central Oklahoma, but the Storm Prediction Center has that under, under the risk area. So they're interesting to look at. So now what we're gonna look at is the supercell composite. So what this shows, it shows the highest area of where like if a supercell could form here. Basically, the ingredients are there, but it's just missing one. So it's just showing the highest concentrated area, the highest likelihood of a supercell with the given conditions. So we go see, obviously, we've got these values for today, but we know today we have a marginal risk, but we do have that hail threat. So that's why there's the chances there. We go to Thursday. Look at Thursday down here, where we had those high values of energy. We have a supercell composite index of a 25. View sounding. Possible hazard type, tornado. But if you remember, looking at the GFS, we had nothing down here at this time. Get to 7. Well, now we have a 34 value here, just probably just north of Wichita. Possible hazard type is tornado. Now, like I said, remember, we looked at the GFS model. It doesn't depict anything down here. Doesn't mean there can't be a rogue supercell or something down here. But I'm just saying the GFS model didn't hint at anything down here at this time. Now, we move on. Okay, we get to 10. By this time, by, the overnight hours, these typically go down because you don't have all that daytime heating. So that's why they go down. Now we go to Friday at 7 p.m. Back up a little bit. Notice how we don't have a high value here in central Oklahoma. That cap is preventing anything from forming out here. We do have values here on the Oklahoma-Texas border at 4, but they're not very high. Get to 7. Okay, now we're getting to double digits, 11s and 12s. Okay, let's view the sounding for this. Possible has a type of tornado. Okay, but the hodograph doesn't confirm this. The hodograph doesn't look too promising for the tornado type, so that's a good thing. Now let's jump to Saturday, because Saturday is a precursor to what Sunday could be. Let's go down here. Okay, boom, 7 p.m. Saturday, just south of Oklahoma City. Supercell composite index is a 23. View sounding. Possible hazard type marginal tornado. Okay, hodograph does kind of verify that. Lots of CAPE, 3,330 joules per kilogram. Okay, we look at everything of the probability of an EF2 plus tornado with supercell. All those models, the STPC is a 0.25, STP fix is a 0.25. Based on the CAPE values, it's a 0.18. Based on the LCL heights, 0.1. Based off of the storm relative helicity, it's a 0.2. So a bunch of things go into this little box right here. So there's medium confidence in it for there. Okay, now Sunday, like I said, Sunday I think could be a little more significant. So we'll go to Sunday. Look at this. By 7, look at this widespread. We've got values here of 25s, but if we go here, we've got values of 32 up in northern Oklahoma, just south of the Kansas border. Now, this says possible hazard type none. Look at this hodograph. This is insane. Based on the STP for the effective layer significant tornado parameter is a 0.55. You don't see values that high, but look, everything else is very low, and it doesn't even have severe weather as a possibility up here. But if we go down here to the 25 value, go here, possible hazard type tornado. Hodograph shows a lot of lift and spin, 4,134 joules per kilogram of CAPE, and these values are 0.39, 0.32, 0.2, 0.19, 0.14, 0.1. So, a lot more confidence for Sunday in that area. We get to 10 p.m. This is outrageous. 43 by 10 p.m. Sunday. STP fix is 0.59. Look at this photograph, y'all. A lot of lift, a lot of spin. Critical angle 82. 3,045 joules per kilogram. This is at 10 p.m. at night, and we've still got 3,000 joules per kilogram of energy for these storms. That's nuts. Okay, let's get to 1 a.m. Monday. Now the highest risk is over here, along the Kansas-Oklahoma border. Values of 37. Let me look at the sounding, please. Thank you. Look at the sounding. Possible hazard type, marginal tornado. STP fix, 0.55. Photograph, again, very, very indicative of lift and spin. Now, 2,690 joules per kilogram of CAPE. Still, this is 1 a.m., and there's still a lot of energy. The only thing to worry about here is we have these two lines here. When they get close together like this, that's a sign that we might have some cap trying to form. Now, if they get really, really close, basically touching, that means we probably do have a cap forming that will probably prohibit storms. Now, okay, this is 4 a.m. Monday, so it's kind of dwindled away, but that's to be expected. Now, let's look at Monday for this. Monday at 1, we have the highest value here under that risk area in Tennessee, western Tennessee. Look at the sounding here. Possible hazard type of a PDS tornado. Photograph shows we have that lift and spin. Okay. They're close up here, but when we look to see for that potential cap, we want to look a little farther. We want to look closer here to the surface. Okay. So that's about a kilometer, just higher than a kilometer up in the atmosphere. So that's not really going to affect a whole lot. Okay. 3,344 joules per kilogram of CAPE. Plenty of CAPE, plenty of energy. Critical angle 76. This could play out now. Granted, this is Monday, okay, so this is still days out. So this is where we get that we're iffy about it, but it could still happen. But like I said, that's Monday. It's still days out. We don't know a whole lot. And then so when we get to Tuesday, and there's no risk for Tuesday, so we won't even look farther than Monday. So that's all that I have for you guys. We're gonna wrap up the video here. Thank you all for joining and watching. Make sure you go down and click that subscribe button if you're new. Help this channel grow. 84 subscribers, trying to push to get to that 100 mark here as fast as we can. Like the video if you enjoyed it. And stay tuned because episode 2 of the Hell Yeah podcast comes out today as well, along with this video. So I have nothing else for you guys. I'm Colton from Forecast One. We will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.